On a seemingly ordinary night in March 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 departed Kuala Lumpur with 239 souls on board, bound for Beijing. What began as a routine journey would soon transform into one of aviation's most profound and haunting mysteries. This is the story of a plane that vanished, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions, unprecedented search efforts, and an enduring enigma that continues to baffle the world.
MH370, the unsolved mystery. What happened to the vanished plane? The year is 2014. The world watches, captivated and bewildered, as a modern marvel of engineering, a Boeing 777, simply vanishes from the sky. Carrying 239 souls, Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370 departed Kuala Lumpur with a routine destination of Beijing, but it never arrived. This scene sets the somber and mysterious tone, introducing the sheer scale of the enigma. We delve into the initial disbelief that such an event could occur in an age of advanced satellite tracking and redundant communication systems. The scene emphasizes the stark contrast between the high-tech reality of modern aviation and the almost archaic notion of a massive airliner disappearing without a trace, leaving behind only questions and an expanding void of uncertainty. We reflect on the global impact, the immediate fear and confusion, and the nascent realization that this was not merely a delayed flight, but a disappearance of unprecedented proportions, an event that would challenge the very foundations of aviation safety and search and rescue protocols for years to come.
Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, an advanced Boeing 777-200ER, was a symbol of modern aviation. Registered 9M-MRO, this specific aircraft had a commendable service record, adding to the perplexing nature of its disappearance. On March 8, 2014, it was scheduled to fly from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KUL, to Beijing Capital International Airport, PEK, a routine overnight flight that typically took just under 6 hours. On board were 227 passengers and 12 crew members, representing 15 different nations, predominantly China and Malaysia. The flight crew was highly experienced, with Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 hours of flight time, and First Officer Farak Abdul Hamid, who was transitioning to the 777. The plane itself, a twin-engine wide-body jet, was known for its reliability and safety record. This scene emphasizes the seeming invincibility and routine nature of such a flight, juxtaposing it with the extraordinary outcome, underscoring the complete lack of any prior warning or distress call that would typically precede an aviation incident. The night of March 8, 2014, began like any other. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 pushed back from its gate at Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:41 a.m. local time and took off smoothly at 12:42 a.m. The weather conditions were clear, offering excellent visibility. The pilots followed standard procedures, making contact with Air Traffic Control, or ATC, as required, their voices calm and professional. The initial climb was uneventful, as expected for a modern jetliner. The aircraft was fully loaded with fuel, provisions, and passengers settled in for the journey to Beijing. For the first 38 minutes, everything proceeded according to plan. The Boeing 777, a tiny, blinking light navigating the night sky, diligently tracked by radar. This segment paints a picture of utter normalcy, a routine departure that contained no hint of the unprecedented events that were about to unfold,
setting a sharp contrast between the calm beginning and the catastrophic unknown that followed, emphasizing the sudden and unprovoked nature of its disappearance.
The pivotal moment of the disappearance occurred at approximately 1:19 a.m. MYT, as flight MH370 was preparing to transition from Malaysian air traffic control to Vietnamese air traffic control. The Malaysian controller's last verbal communication was, "Good night, Malaysian 370." The response from the cockpit, believed to be First Officer Farik Abdul Hamid, was a casual, "Good night, Malaysian 370." This seemingly innocuous exchange was the last confirmed voice contact with the aircraft. Moments later, at 1:21 a.m., the aircraft's transponder, which communicates its identity, speed, and altitude to ATC, ceased functioning. Within seconds, it vanished from civilian radar screens. This sudden and silent cessation of communication without any distress call or warning immediately raised alarms. The abruptness of the event, coupled with the lack of any technical issues reported moments before, initiated an unprecedented search and rescue operation, turning a routine flight into an international enigma. This scene highlights the sudden, unexplained silence that marked the true beginning of the mystery. In the immediate aftermath of MH370's disappearance from civilian radar, an urgent yet initially disoriented search effort was launched. The primary focus was on the South China Sea, along the expected flight path between Malaysia and Vietnam. Naval vessels, aircraft, and personnel from multiple nations, including Malaysia, Vietnam, China, and the United States, rapidly converged on the area. The early days were marked by intense scrutiny of radar data, communication logs, and attempts to contact the aircraft. Reports of possible debris sightings and oil slicks emerged, leading to frantic but ultimately fruitless investigations. The sheer scale of the search zone, combined with conflicting information and the lack of any distress signal, made the initial efforts challenging and deeply frustrating. This scene highlights the early chaos, the immense resources deployed, and the growing realization that this was not a simple accident, but a profound and baffling mystery unfolding in one of the world's busiest shipping lanes and airspace corridors, setting the stage for the unprecedented scale of the international search.
Just as the international search in the South China Sea seemed to yield nothing, a groundbreaking discovery emerged from an unlikely source: military radar data. This data, initially overlooked or not fully disclosed, revealed that after its transponder ceased functioning, MH370 did not simply continue on its path to Beijing. Instead, it executed a series of turns, first a sharp left turn, then a more significant right turn, effectively reversing its course and heading west across the Malay Peninsula. This highly anomalous flight path, deliberately programmed and executed, indicated a conscious act rather than a catastrophic system failure. The aircraft then flew across the peninsula, out over the Andaman Sea, and beyond the reach of conventional radar. This revelation fundamentally shifted the focus of the investigation from a crash in the South China Sea to a deliberate diversion, transforming the mystery from an accident to a deliberate act, plunging investigators into a far more complex and troubling scenario.
With the revelation from military radar data, the focus of the search dramatically shifted. Investigators turned to an unprecedented source: satellite handshake data from Inmarsat. This data, from a satellite orbiting over the Indian Ocean, recorded hourly pings from MH370, even after all other communication systems were offline. These pings did not contain location information, but they indicated the aircraft's approximate distance from the satellite, narrowing down its possible final trajectory to two vast arcs, a northern corridor stretching into Central Asia, and a southern corridor extending deep into the remote southern Indian Ocean. Analysis quickly ruled out the northern corridor due to the lack of any landing or radar detection. This left the desolate, hostile waters of the southern Indian Ocean as the most probable location. This groundbreaking application of satellite communication theory transformed the search from a geographical quest into a mathematical deduction, pointing towards one of the most isolated regions on Earth and fundamentally changing the scope and scale of the investigation. The shift of the search to the southern Indian Ocean presented unparalleled challenges. This region is one of the most remote and hostile on Earth, characterized by abyssal depths, powerful currents, and extreme weather conditions. The initial search zone covered an area of over 60,000 square kilometers, later expanding to 120,000 square kilometers, an area roughly the size of Iceland. The search involved highly specialized vessels equipped with towed sonar, autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, and remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, capable of mapping the seafloor at depths exceeding 4,000 meters. The sheer logistics of operating in such a distant location, thousands of kilometers from the nearest port, were staggering. Crews endured months of isolation, battling monstrous waves and unpredictable squalls, all while painstakingly mapping a largely unknown underwater landscape in the desperate hope of finding a trace. This scene emphasizes the immense scale, technological sophistication, and sheer human endurance required for this unprecedented deep-sea search. After years of relentless searching, a breakthrough finally occurred in July 2015, over 16 months after the plane's disappearance. A piece of aircraft wreckage, later confirmed to be a flaperon from a Boeing 777, washed ashore on Reunion Island, thousands of kilometers west of the primary search zone in the southern Indian Ocean. This discovery, though distant, provided the first tangible proof that MH370 had indeed met its end in the Indian Ocean. Subsequently, more debris, including parts of the wing, cabin interior, and engine cowlings, were found washed ashore on various coastlines across the western Indian Ocean, including Madagascar, Tanzania, and Mozambique. Each piece of debris, meticulously recovered and analyzed, carried unique identifying numbers and characteristics confirming their origin from MH370. This scene highlights the emotional impact of these discoveries, providing both a painful confirmation of loss and vital clues about the aircraft's final moments, while simultaneously underscoring the powerful and far-reaching ocean currents that had dispersed the wreckage over such a vast area. For the families of the 239 people on board MH370, the disappearance was not just a global mystery, but an agonizing personal tragedy. The scene shifts focus to the profound human cost, exploring the emotional devastation experienced by the relatives. From the initial shock and frantic hope, to the relentless limbo of not knowing, to the eventual painful acceptance for some that their loved ones were gone. Their journey has been one of unimaginable suffering. We witness their public appeals, their unwavering belief in finding answers, and their struggles with conflicting information and the lack of closure. The scene underscores the psychological torment of perpetual uncertainty, the inability to mourn, and the desperate yearning for a definitive explanation. This aspect of the MH370 story is crucial, reminding us that behind the technical data and search grids are real people whose lives were irrevocably shattered by this unprecedented event, and whose search for truth continues to this day.
From the earliest moments of the MH370 mystery,
a myriad of theories and speculations emerged, attempting to explain the inexplicable. These ranged from mechanical failure or fire, which would typically be preceded by a distress call, to a hijacking or even a deliberate act by one of the pilots. The lack of a definitive crash site or flight recorder data fueled endless conjecture. Experts and amateur sleuths alike debated the possibility of a ghost flight scenario where all on board were incapacitated, the implications of the deliberate power down of communication systems, and the curious route changes. Each piece of debris found, each satellite data point analyzed, brought new hypotheses and dismissed others, yet none could definitively provide a complete, coherent narrative. This scene explores the intellectual challenge and the human tendency to seek patterns and explanations, even in the face of overwhelming uncertainty, highlighting the various compelling yet unproven theories that continue to surround the disappearance.
The vanishing of MH370 exposed significant gaps in global flight tracking capabilities. Despite the widespread use of radar and satellite technology, there remained vast areas of the ocean where civilian aircraft could effectively disappear. The incident highlighted the limitations of transponder-based tracking, which can be easily deactivated, and the insufficient real-time data streaming from aircraft. The subsequent international investigation prompted a global reevaluation of aviation safety protocols. New standards were proposed and implemented, including enhanced satellite tracking systems that would provide continuous, minute-by-minute updates on an aircraft's position, even in remote areas. The push for black box data streaming in real time and longer battery life for underwater locator beacons also gained momentum. This scene examines how MH370 became a catalyst for change, forcing the aviation industry to confront its vulnerabilities and adapt, striving to ensure that such an inexplicable disappearance would never happen again,
Ladies and gentlemen,
fundamentally
we're facing
reshaping
a
the future
critical
of flight
vulnerability.
safety and surveillance. Despite the unprecedented deep-sea searches and the discovery of debris, the exact location of MH370's main wreckage and, crucially, its flight recorders remains elusive. The official large-scale search was suspended in January 2017, having covered over 120,000 square kilometers of the Indian Ocean without success. However, the quest for answers did not entirely cease. Private initiatives driven by technology experts and, most profoundly, by the tireless families have continued to emerge. Ocean Infinity, a private company, conducted an extensive no-cure, no-pay search in 2018, deploying advanced autonomous underwater vehicles, but also yielded no definitive results. The mystery endures, fueled by the conviction of many that the truth can still be found. This scene highlights the ongoing determination to solve the enigma, the persistent hope that advances in technology or new insights might yet pinpoint the crash site, and the unwavering resolve of those personally affected to find closure, even as the years turn into a decade, solidifying MH370's place as one of history's greatest aviation puzzles. The vanishing of MH370 exposed significant gaps in global flight tracking capabilities. Despite the widespread use of radar and satellite technology, there remained vast areas of the ocean where civilian aircraft could effectively disappear.
This new framework is
The incident
critical for
highlighted the
global
limitations
safety.
of transponder-based
Let's
tracking,
finalize these
which can be
protocols.
easily deactivated, and the insufficient real-time data streaming from aircraft. The subsequent international investigation prompted a global reevaluation of aviation safety protocols. New standards were proposed and implemented, including enhanced satellite tracking systems that would provide continuous, minute-by-minute updates on an aircraft's position, even in remote areas. The push for black box data streaming in real time and longer battery life for underwater locator beacons also gained momentum. This scene examines how MH370 became a catalyst for change,
forcing the aviation industry to confront its vulnerabilities and adapt, striving to ensure that such an inexplicable disappearance would never happen again, fundamentally reshaping the future of flight safety and surveillance.
The mystery of MH370, while prompting profound changes in aviation, remains profoundly unresolved. Despite all the technological advancements, the unprecedented search efforts, and the agonizing weight of the families, the main wreckage, the black boxes, and the definitive answers as to why and how it vanished remain elusive. It stands as a stark reminder of humanity's technological limitations when confronted with the vastness and indifference of nature and the persistent fragility of life. The 239 souls on board are not forgotten, their memory kept alive by the ongoing fight for answers. The legacy of MH370 is one of a haunting question mark in the annals of aviation, a permanent enigma that continues to challenge our understanding and to shape the future of air travel. It serves as a continuous, somber testament to the unexpected vulnerabilities in an increasingly interconnected world, a mystery that, for now, stubbornly refuses to yield its secrets, leaving an enduring quest for truth and closure.